Mayday to you, mateys, and welcome to my kitchen again. It's Sunday, December 13th. Sorry I look so slobbish, but hey, I spent the day watching football, and I'm going to spend tonight watching some more. Anyway, but I figured in between I'd make us some Amish sweet white bread, and you're going to get a chance to check it out. Tonight, we've got the Steelers-Bills game. We're going to watch that one. That one's important. Tomorrow, Monday Night Football, Cleveland Browns at home against the Baltimore Ravens. Anyway, stick around. You're going to have some fun watching this bread develop from scratch. And so let's get started. We're going to start out first putting 2/3 of a cup of sugar. Yeah, baby. 2/3 cup of sugar, it's in there. And we're heating right now 2 cups of water. We're gonna heat that to about 105 to 110 degrees. And we're gonna add a tablespoon and a half of instant yeast. And how you can do that is you can either do it with Fleischmann's bread yeast, bread machine yeast, instant yeast, which I use a lot of. Or if you have the packages of instant yeast, you can always have some of these on backup. The Red Star brand, if you like. That package right there has, I don't know how much is in one of these packages because I seldom ever use them. But I don't know. Maybe we'll use some of this. I'll measure it out and get back with you. So one of those packets came to just under a tablespoon. So what I did, I added another bit of the Fleischmann's out of here, bread machine yeast with it, to equal out to 1 tablespoon and a half, okay? So now that we got that done, we've got the water over here. And the water, usually give it a little mix like that. I can kind of tell if it's hot enough or not. That needs to go back in and heat for probably about another 15 seconds. And to temp it, if you've got one of these meat thermometers, believe it or not, you can basically stick it in there and, get the temperature to at least 110, 105, 110. You don't want to go more than 110, a little too hot. You'll end up killing your yeast. But you don't want to be too low on temperature either, because then your yeast will lie dormant and won't wake up, and we don't want that. Now, when you microwave something, you always want to give it a stir, and the reason you do that is so that you don't have hot and cold spots throughout, okay? So I just took my water, gave it a little stir, so now I'm going to check it. Hopefully she gets right up in the range I want. And once we do, we'll be putting that right in with the sugar and the yeast. It's temping out right to 106. So that's perfect. Let's put that in there. Let that mix up a little bit. Use the back of this to stir that sugar and yeast mixture around. And also want to put in there, because the recipe does call for 1.5 teaspoons of, or a 1/4 cup of olive oil or canola oil. We're going to put a 1/4 cup of oil right in there also. So let's go with a 1/4 cup. Take our canola oil, fill that bad boy up right to the rim. Put her in there. Now, with instant yeast, you don't have to let it sit in proof. I do. I let it go at least 5 minutes just to see that it's working and everything like that. I like to know that my yeast isn't going to be dormant, and it's pretty much good insurance policy to know before you go and put a bunch of flour and everything in there, the rest of the ingredients, that it's going to rise. And that's what the whole name of the game is, because once we mix this, it's got to rise. It's got to rise for about an hour. So let me check this out. We'll be back. Little thing that I always do to ensure that my yeast isn't dormant is that when I do go ahead and do that, I haven't done my flour as of yet. So what we're going to do is sift out 6 cups. 6 cups of bread flour. Sir Lancelot, whatever you want to call it. But it's bread flour. It's higher in gluten. So we're going to go and sift out 6 cups of that. And you don't have to sift, but I do. It seems to make a better loaf. And this is going to make 2 loaves. So we'll get that sifted out and get her ready to mix. Now, if you don't have bread flour, by all means, use all-purpose flour. If you're running low on bread flour, use the bread flour, do whatever you can, put that in there first, and then switch over and get your remaining flour that you need with all-purpose flour. It's not going to hurt it, not going to hurt it a bit. That's what I did. Didn't have to, but I didn't feel like digging out my bread flour, I was running low on my bread flour in my bin, and I didn't want to dig out, go around and try to find it and dig it out and all that. So I have some all-purpose flour sitting around. Added that. Now I've got, you probably can't see it, but I've got a whole thing of bread flour right here. We're going to add that right to our yeast. And we also need to put salt. 1.5 teaspoons of salt. And one thing you definitely want to do is don't forget the salt, because that's what enhances the flavor of your bread. Okay? And I pretty much can almost tell you exactly when I do it by hand, exactly what it's going to come out, the amount. So anyway, take a look at this right here. See what you think. That's kind of where we're at. A little bit of yeast and flour, and we're ready for the mixer, guys. Alrighty. This is my favorite part. Okay, this is going to go on the KitchenAid here, which I put it on there. And I don't have a dough hook, I have a spiral. This is the KitchenAid Professional model, which is a little bit bigger one. That's not to say you have to have one of those. I just happen to have it at the time, got a great deal on it. They're usually 500 and some bucks, and I got it for $199 brand new at a store called Tuesday Morning. And that was probably about 12, 13 years ago. What I'm so mad about is they had 2 for $199. I should have bought them both, because these doggone things are expensive. And it would always be nice to have one no matter what, as backup or as a great gift to give to your sister, because she would probably like one, wouldn't she? Yes, she would. Anyway, come on over here, check this out. This is all what I'm going to do right here. Just going to spray this down a little bit with some, get it nice and lubed up a little bit here. And hopefully you guys don't fall on me, which you're falling right now. Oh my God, stay up there. Okay, why are you falling? Okay, I figured it out. Anyway, so let's stick this on here. And when you turn this on, guys, do not turn it on full go, or you will have full dough all over your kitchen, okay? Lift that up, turn it on the first speed. Okay, make sure it's plugged in and ready to go. Let that get mixing. Let that kind of incorporate and get mixed up in there. And then you'll be ready to see if you need to add any more, a little more liquid, or you need to add a little more flour. Now that it's kind of incorporated, let's turn that bad boy up a little bit. Doesn't look like we need to add any more. Looks like it's all come together pretty well. So we'll let that kind of mix like this for about 10 minutes, and then we'll take it out, put it into a greased bowl, and we'll be able to let it rise. You can see she's about there, coming together really nice. And you're probably thinking, Mayday, are you going to eat all that bread, 2 loaves yourself? Well, I'm glad you asked me that. And the simple answer is no. I'm actually going to give one of them to my very dear friend Doug and his wife Becky. And you've seen Doug on the videos before. Doug's going to get a nice loaf of bread, and Becky, because Doug has always been there for me every time I need something, whatever it is. It seems like the guy just drops whatever and helps me out. And the other one's going to go to my very dear, near and dear sister Nancy. She and her husband, two of the best people you ever meet. They run a pizza shop down in Burgles, Ohio, so if you've never had Jeffro's Pizza, it's Ohio Valley style, and it's absolutely delicious. The calzones are out of this world. But anyway, that's who's going to get these loaves of bread. Generally, I'll make them. I'll give one to my pastor and maybe one to Mrs. Greger, who lives across the street from me. She's always been a longtime friend of mine. She's 93, and we sit and talk about cooking, and just she tells me about old town, old times in Amsterdam and all that stuff. So she usually gets. She loves fresh baked bread. So she won't get one of these two, but she'll probably get one before Christmas. For Christmas. All right. So I think that's about all. I think that's about all we need to do. Turn that down a little bit. Kind of take this off the board here. And gonna have to turn the camera around the other way. Now that I've got that all ready, I've got my board floured so I can roll it out on there. I'm gonna do a little bit of kneading, which you don't really have to, but I like to knead it a little bit. You're gonna take a bowl to let it rise in. This is my bread bowl. And take just your cooking spray. Give it a generous spray of that. Cover the inside. And then I'm just gonna turn this out. Probably should put a little bit of flour on my hands. Try to get it turned out the way where you guys can kind of see it. This hand's a little wet. But I'm going to turn that out on my board. Never done this on camera before, so bear with me. Anyway, you get the gist, okay? Then I'm just going to take it, kind of turn it on itself, spin it around, turn it on itself, spin it around, turn it on itself, spin it around, turn it on itself, kind of like this. Knead it, get the air pockets out. Okay, now that I've got it sort of kneaded, believe me, I'm not the most graceful at things like this. But I'll tell you what, no matter what, this comes out good every time. So there we go. So now we got our little dough ball. Kind of fold it, tuck it in. It's almost like a pizza dough ball. Drop it in there. It's all ready to cover. I'll cover it and I'll let it rise for about an hour. That's all I need to do. Take some plastic wrap like this. Plastic wrap, one of the most aggravating things in the world to work with. Give that a little spray. Put that right over top of my bowl like this. Give it a tear. And there we go. That'll rise for about 1 hour. And when it does, you're going to see what it looks like, guys. Just like that, we are risen. So what you want to do now that we have a risen bread, we want to take our pans, our bread pans, get those nice and lubed up. This is actually coconut cooking spray. Get that other one lubed up. Punch down the bread. That punch down. Got our flour board right here. Gonna turn this out onto the board, just like we did before. And we're going to do a little bit of kneading. Going to cut this in two, okay? Take one of them. Is it even showing on there? Let's get a little better look here. And take one. Kind of get it rolled up like a loaf. And that'll go in our pan. Take the other one. Do about the same. Got some flour down my throat there. Whoa. Okay. Drop that one in there. Now what do we have? 2 loaves of bread ready to rise. Take our flour, our cling wrap sheet that we had from earlier. Cover these bad boys right back up. Let them rise. All right. Actually going to set them over here on the stove. Let them rise. They'll rise up nice. Turn the stove on, or turn the oven on actually. We're going to turn the oven on to 360. And I let this bread bake for about an hour. I temp it internally while it's baking, and I want the internal temperature to get up to like 196. That's usually when I'll pull it, 196 to 200, right in that area. It'll have a little carryover as it rests when you take it out. But then, you're ready to go, man. So let's let that rise, then we'll be back and we'll go ahead and bake her up. Okay, Mayday guys, check it out. Nice and risen up, and we are going to drop them in. Preheated, 360 degrees, 360. And like I said, after about 30 minutes, I'm gonna flip them around, and then I'll start checking them after about an hour. I'll start checking them, taking the temperature of them and seeing what's going on. Like I said, it's gotta go 30 minutes, flip them around in the oven, and then temp them. Once you temp them, you're looking for that 196, 200 degree mark. And then you pull them and cool them and pass them out to your buddies. My golly, guys, we almost had a big Mayday. I forgot I was confusing this with another recipe, and I was sitting there eating, and I'm thinking, holy cow, these aren't supposed to go for an hour. They're supposed to go for about 35 minutes. So what we're gonna do now is just rotate them. Here, it's been about 15 minutes. So I'm gonna rotate this one over here. Turn this one around this way. Not looking too bad there, huh? Let that go for about another 20 minutes like that. 20 minutes on the timer. We'll be back. I'll be back to check it out and make sure we don't have any Maydays. Okay, guys, let's get a quick temp on these. Got about 3 more minutes, but I want to temp them right now, see where we're at, see how we're looking. Got a little bit more time to go. Gotta be patient. That one was only temping at like 145. Got some time to go. Let's give them a little more time. Guys, it's time to temp them again real quick and just see where we might be at. Let's give this one a little bit of a temp. It's like about 192 and climbing, 193, 94, 95, 196 on that one. About 193 on that one. This one I'm going to pull, and the other one I'll let go in there for a couple minutes. So we can take a look at this one right here. Not bad. Not bad at all. I'll let it cool off in here, this pan, for about, I don't know, about 15 minutes before I dump it onto a baking rack. Just gotta wait for that other one. Okay, this one temped out right at 198. So, got 2 good loaves sitting here. Like I said, we'll let them cool and then we'll come back, put them on the rack. And you'll get to see the completed bread. Before we show you the completed, let's take a look at the recipe. It's Amish white bread, sweet white bread, 2 cups warm water, heat it to about 110. That's about a minute and 20 or something in your microwave. Then obviously you can go from there. Like right here, originally I was baking it for 30 minutes and that wasn't long enough. 35 minutes is usually what you want to bake it to, 35, maybe even 40. But you want to, if you have something to temp it with, you want to get between 195 and 200 before you pull it. And you'll be set. But that's an easy bread to make. Okay, Mayday mateys, here we go. I just take a little scraping with one of my cake spatulas here. Kind of get it unstuck from the sides, if it is. It's nice. Take this, should just flip right out. Oops, look at that. That's not a bad looking loaf right there. Woo. Take this one. Oh yeah. 2 nice bread loaves. Gotta get out of the way there so you can check them out. Not bad. Not bad if I do say so myself. And like I said, one's going to my buddy Doug and the other one's going to my sister Nancy. So if you want me to make you a loaf of bread, you might have to just leave me a comment. Let me know. All right. Anyway, you got the recipe. You can make it yourself. They're fun. It's easy to make. You can watch a football game while you're doing it and everything. Anyway, thanks guys for watching the video. And leave me a comment. I'd like to know if you are watching the video and you watched it till the end, leave me a comment. And if you haven't subscribed yet, love to have you, man. Really would love to have you. Do a lot of videos of fishing, cooking, this and that, baking, whatever we can get on film that might be interesting. And all of my subscribers, you know that I love you. So keep on keeping on. Until then, Mayday is out of here.